Hello students. The backward design has three stages. The first stage is to identify the desired result. That means what is that I want my students to understand and know and be able to do. So it's like what are your learning outcomes? What are the knowledge and the skills the students will master and acquire at the end of your online courses. The second stage is to determine the acceptable evidence. That means how will I know what my students know and what I want them to know. So here is about the assessment evidence. And the third stage is the plan learning experiences. So it does mean what do I need to do in the classroom to prepare them for the assessment, what type of instructional strategies and what are the learning activities I will give them in order to perform these instructional strategies, what are the type of content, the extra resources and the technology are going to use in order to support their learning. So these are more clarification I'm providing here about the three stages of the backward design. We can consider the first stage, identify the desired result by your learning outcomes of your online course. To determine the acceptable evidence is the assessment and evidence and rubrics related to your online course. And the third stage, plan learning experiences, is about the teaching methods, instructional strategies, learning activities, resources, the content, and the technology are going to use in your online course. So let's start with the first stage to identify the desired results. Here, in to identify the desired result, you need to ask yourself, what should my students know, understand, and be able to do? So, what are the knowledge they need to master? What are the skills that they need to acquire? And here, if you can see, we have enduring understanding, which is the main element in identifying desired result, that it's more important and necessary for us as educators, and also important to know and do. And finally, the worth being familiar with, but we are focusing here in enduring understanding because we need students at the end to acquire the required knowledge and skills and to transfer those knowledge and skills into contexts outside the boundaries of the classroom. It will return with them forever. So, what is the enduring understanding? Enduring understanding, you can consider it as the big ideas and essential questions of your online course or of your project or unit or lesson plan. And also, you need to ask yourself what key knowledge and skills will the students acquire as a result of this online course. And you have to begin with the end in mind. So, what I need my students at the end of this online course or at the end of this lesson plan to accomplish? What are the final outcomes I need them to have when they completed my online course? So this is about the enduring understanding. For example, here I want the students to understand that. So here you need to identify the big ideas from your course and the knowledge and the skills. Let's take this example. Providing students with real-world problem-solving tools, equipping students to individually recognize a plan for and solve any problem that involves in the content, making also students lifelong learners. So these are the enduring understanding that I need students to acquire after they completed my online course. For example, let me give you an example in post-secondary schools. Fraction, for example, you want the students to learn a fraction, to recognize a frame, and solve any problem that involves fractional relationships independently. So design the unit backwards from real problems to problem-solving situation that want the students to be able to solve on their own, because you need them to solve any fractional problems and relationship independently. So you need them to perform it in their own, to become independent and acquire these skills as they move forward. Another example in grammar, you want the students to learn grammar, to speak and right in any situation for maximum effect independently. So design the unit backwards from communication challenges and problems that you want students to be able to solve on their own. So these are example of the enduring understanding. So this is the final, all the overarching learning outcomes of your unit or of your lesson plan of your online course. For example, in this, and for this reason, so these are example of the enduring understanding. You have to think from the end of the course what you want your students to accomplish. The point here is to foster transfer of learning to create independent problem solvers. We equip them with understanding, skills, and knowledge that are essential to real life situation. So here is the enduring understanding. They need them to become independently. But how? How they will become independent? Now, we are still in the desired result. So here you need to establish your goals. What are your goals? Your goals are the enduring understanding that we explained just right now. And the essential questions you can ask yourself any question that it came up with you in order to reach your overall outcomes. So here you need to write what students will know about the knowledge, and here what students will be able to do. For example, here students will understand the fraction, or maybe students will understand and will define will define the 5 principles of meaningful online learning. Students also understand the different types of instructional strategies and how each type can be performed. And here for the skill, for example, students will be able to design meaningful online learning using the 5 principles of meaningful online learning. And also students can design lesson plans and online courses using different instructional strategies with the learning activities, alignment with the content and technology. See, here is the knowledge and here is the skill. So this is for the first stage, which are the desired results you need to perform in planning for your online course, which is the assignment. Let's see how we can fill in this table. When we said enduring understanding is the big ideas and the essential questions of your online course, let's take an example. For example, some of the big ideas change, for example, maybe communication, maybe culture, maybe diversity, maybe conflict, maybe exploration or environment. This is the big idea, for example. Let's use these big ideas to form understandings and essential questions. The understanding: what insights will students take away about the meaning of the content via big ideas? For example, about about the change, for example, what the takeaway about the meaning of this change and its related concepts. The essential questions could be the important question that will reoccur throughout our lives. And then understanding, summarize the desired insights. We want the students to realize about the big data. We need here to the essential question. We help students to make sense of big ideas through questioning and then making decision. And also, if we need our students to understand and connect the dots, they tell us what our knowledge means and make sense of facts and skills. Also, we need to engage them and motivate them. This is such essential questions we need to ask. Let's also take another example. An effective story engages the reader by setting up tensions about what will happen next. So here I motivate them, I engage them. However, for example, if just I have the story and audience and the purpose and just I read it, there is no any enduring understanding of this of this purpose. So here I need them to think, I engage them, I motivate them to think what happened next. So this is the some essential questions when you read a story or maybe when you watch a film. What will happen next? You can ask your students what will happen next in this story. So this is some essential questions that will motivate and engage your learner in the learning process, and also this is will also foster their understanding about the meaning and the topic of the meaning. Another question, another example. When water disappears, it turns into water vapor and can reappear as liquid if the water is cooled. Okay, so this is encourage students to think, okay, and encourage students to question themselves. Let's here, for example, see what is non-example of the enduring understanding. Water covers three-fourths of the Earth's surface. Yes, this is a fact. But what the questioning in this fact? Nothing. I hope students that is clear how you can define and determine your enduring understanding and the essential questions that will reoccur in our lives based on the content. So let's take also another example of the essential questions. For example, how would life be different if we couldn't measure time? So this is it's encourage students to think. It make us think about the questions about what is going to happen. However, if we ask just a direct question like how many minutes are in an hour or a day, there is direct answer. It's so this is it cannot be essential questions that can provoke your enduring understanding to determine your overall learning outcomes. Now, after we understand how we can define the desired result and overall learning outcomes of your online courses, we will move to stage two to determine the acceptable evidence, which means how will I know that my students know and master the required skills and what I want them also to know. Let's dive into this stage two. Think like an evaluator and assessor in this stage, and you are gathering evidence at several points. So here we are going to use the traditional assessment and performance assessment, of course. And remember, students, we don't like to focus on the traditional assessment because it's just used to evaluate the essential knowledge and the skills needed for just to evaluate your understanding about the topic. However, we focus on the performance assessment. So here let's see what are the type within the enduring assessment. For the enduring understanding and important to know and do, here we are using the performance assessment through portfolio, through assignments, through projects, through discussion, and so on. However, if we need, for example, to use a traditional quizzes, just we need to evaluate the essential knowledge and the skills, the essential knowledge actually with the students, and it will be in the worth being familiar with. So maybe if they want just understanding, we will use quizzes and we will use exams. So in order to define the performance assessment, the performance task and the project, and also we need to use rubric. We need rubric in order to make grading criteria known to all students. All students will know how they are going to evaluate it in their performance in the project, in the online discussion, in the portfolio, in the online discussion, in any other performance. And also to reduce the teacher subjectivity because the teacher will use the rubric. There is no bias, and also to maintain focus on content, performance standards, and on students' work. So in order, for example, if you determine that you are going to use portfolio to collect and gather evidence about your students, also create and develop a rubric in order how you are going to perform your students' portfolio. So here are some examples of the performance task. For example, plan and budget for a 4-day tour, for example, in Muscat to help visitors understand the city's impact on history and development on the nation. But if I give you a final exam in history, with 15 multiple choice and short answer questions. A question. So this is like traditional assessment, and this is there is no transfer of knowledge after you completed the course. After we understand the stage one, which is to identify the desired result, and stage two to determine the evidence and assessment and performance assessment, now we'll move to plan the learning experiences. Learning experiences means what do I need to do in the classroom to prepare my students for these assessments. So the stage three is the planning for your learning experiences and instruction. Here you need to identify the facts, the concepts, principles, and procedures that students will need in order to complete performance task or project in stage two. You need to identify the content for direct teaching, coaching, and constructive teaching. And also you need to select the learning activities, the materials and resources and technology will support students performing their task and understand the content. So here are the learning activities you need to consider about what it's called WRITO. W, you need to help students know where the unit or the online course is going. And also you need to hook all students and hold their interest. You need to equip students and to explore the issues and experience the ideas and provide them to rethink and revise, and also allow students to exhibit and to present their understanding and evaluate their own work, and also to be tailored to the difference needs, interests, and abilities of learners, and also to be organized to maximum initial and sustained engagement as well as effective learning. So when you design your learning activities in order to perform the instruction strategies and to understand the content and to use the technology, you need to consider all these criteria. And again, backward design, we said it starts with defining the overall outcome, which is the desired result, and then we'll move to the assessment or evidence. Is it formal or informal? And then how I'm going to teach you in order to accomplish this learning outcomes and in order to assess and evaluate your performance in this content. And this is about the backward design. And this is the introduction in order to be ready to perform your assignment too. Also, I'm giving details and guideline how you can perform your assignment too. And thank you. Bye bye.